Hello again and welcome to another 1v1 cast of the legendary game that is Beyond All Reason. So today's cast we have rAndy versus BarCastTV. BarCastTV, a great channel if you like the casts of Bar, surprisingly due to their name, and surprisingly also a very good player in the recent content creator tournament that we had a couple of weeks ago now. Did a very good job and is a lot better than I was expecting. Unfortunately, I can't see his OS at this time, but he is almost in the 30s, I believe, which is, you know, top tier when it comes to 1v1s. And then we have rAndy over here. Everyone knows this guy, been around for quite a while in the bar scene and is a legend in his own regards. So, as we zoom out here, we have a very brown map with a lot of little niggly bits to note. We have two geos on the hills here, as I'm trying to draw with Q. There we go. We also have some radar blind spots. These hill cliffs here are going to cause some issues for radar, and they are on each side of the map. Map we can see here is mirrored in a diagonal fashion, as tends to be the way. Now, what we are seeing is a difference here in start position. We see rAndy has spawned in the bottom left side of the map, and BarCast has spawned relatively in the bottom right hand side of the map. BarCast is more towards the middle of his side, however, giving him more control and access to the north side of the map with the current position of both players' starts. So, as is normal with 1v1s, both players will tend to move towards the middle of the map and then try and control the middle with their commanders and then hold the flanks with units. Now, one thing to note on this map, and I'm seeing this straight away from BarCast, is the pure amount of reclaim. Now, there's a lot of little rocks here, but as we see in this area, there's 600 metal. In early game, that's quite a lot of metal, so not something to sniff at. rAndy knows this though, and he's moving some guys to protect this metal clump down here, and we'll get that res bot straight off the bat with no worries, and get a free grunt for that matter as well. That does give rAndy some useful information though. He knows that for a resbot to get there in that amount of time, he needs to be somewhat nearby. These smaller hills are also not really going to cause much of a threat for bots, as they can quite easily traverse across it. We press F2 here to see the map. We can see that they can move pretty freely around here. BarCast with no radar up yet is now going to block off these grunts quite close before we block them off. rAndy there doing a very good job at using this hill to try and negate some damage. Unfortunately, it does not save the unit for him, but still. rAndy using his comm to move to the south side instead and expand there. Bear in mind that because units can only push through that way from that side, building a LLT or two here will completely stop any pushing against those, at least for the foreseeable future. Another res bot out, trying to get this metal reclaim in the middle. Big chunk of it there. That's like almost 400 metal, so it doesn't sound like a lot. But when you consider that, you know, a bot lab is 600, you can in essence get another bot lab, or that pays for the metal cost of your advanced solar, which again, an advanced solar's cost is more in energy anyway, but you get the idea. It's worth getting, and for the cost of a res bot, which as we look at it now is 100 metal, that's already paid for that res bot. Now, if he loses all these grunts, that will not necessarily have been worth it, but still, stopping rAndy getting the metal is a very valid tactic. Now, both players today are playing Cortex, So we're going to see a lot of lasers going away between them, and BarCast doing a bit of a bad job at controlling these units here. He's going to lose a resbot again. And this somewhat elite guy here is going to just probably get out, I think. Unless Ragnar doesn't. No, Randy's moved it away, and yep, managed to escape. What BarCast is doing though is he's got a couple of guys up here just completely stopping any naked expansion. But the pure amount of units that Randy is pushing out right now is immense. So BarCast is at the disadvantage here of not having anywhere as near enough units as Randy does. But that doesn't matter. If BarCast can get this expansion under control, he does have a more advantageous position here. His comm is with his units as well, so if his comm does get engaged, he can make a play with it. And he does manage to clear up the guys to the north, giving that resbot time to get some of them metal, but Randy trying to stop that. Now, I am interesting to see that there's no vehicles being used on this map. Battle points are all 2.1s, no special ones, and it's majority flat, so very surprised we're not seeing any of that. And this grunt here not actually making the most of his opportunity there to stop those engineers building that laser tower. You may have noticed it now, but it's too late as that laser tower is going to come up. Trying to get the flanking damage on it, but the other grunt just decided to shoot the engineer instead. Now, Randy just making a slow forward movement with his commander towards BarCast space. BarCast does see that, but he's not really doing anything to stop it. We do see now a transition to vehicles from BarCast. Now, vehicles would be quite useful on this map due to its flat nature, but it does mean that small terrain informalities like this bit here and here will no longer be transversable, which is fine as long as he can get enough units out. BarCast right now, his limitation is energy. He is trying to resolve with both his commander and an engineer, but rAndy here pushing forward with his commander very close to the enemy's base, and he is not noticing it. He must just presume that that is an engineer, and maybe a mistake here is his commander might be able to just walk into the base and just deal with him quite easily, but BarCast managing to get units into Randy's base. Unfortunately, they don't really get any damage out before getting mopped up, and that just gives Randy some additional metal. And we start to hear the sound of vehicles coming to life. BarCast doing some good containment now. Keeping Randy in this corner here, not letting him go any further forward, but the fact that his commander is able just to walk basically into BarCast space is not great. BarCast is going to try and ambush him. We're going to see a massive D-guns. BarCast not moving his units in. Oh, what a mistake. He had clearly enough guys there to ambush Randy, but instead he plays it defensive. And because of that, misses out a massive opportunity. And the incisors here versus grunts will not play out in his help. There's quite a bit of them now starting to form up. As we quickly check the stats here. BarCast with 3k more metal produced. Energy is on Randy's side with an extra 20k, but an excess of 20k, so not really much difference there. Unfortunately, you see BarCast being separated from his main base by a decent group of grunts here. Done a great job at clearing out 3 mexes. Assault tanks, not the greatest at killing grunts here. The Thug push and Grunt push on the LLTs here, trying to force Randy back. Needs a bit more damage on them. Randy doesn't have energy really to pay for anything right now. He is getting an air transport ready to go to pull his guy back, which means he is going to plan on just extracting. Does mean we're probably going to expect to see some shurikens soon as well with that air factory around. Does BarCast know that's there? No, he doesn't. He needs to get a radar up quickly. He's tempting BarCast into an all-or-nothing comm attack. That's what the plan is, I'm thinking. He's holding these guys back, leaving them to defend the commander at this point. This does leave this entire force here from BarCast empty. He needs to do something with it. BarCast doing a great job here at clearing this back line around the commander. Does he see that massive force coming? He does. He knows it's coming. He knows those guys are not going to be able to get out of the way in time. Just trying to do as much damage as he can before he dies. Unfortunately, not microing this guy, so he's just shooting the wreck rather than shooting that. Meanwhile, the wave of tanks and grunts coming in from BarCastTV, managing to do a decent job. However, the fact that Andy's commander is able to just walk this far forward is a bit silly. No contesting there from BarCast at all. Meanwhile, this north side about to get harassed, but here come the shurikens. And there we go. That assault has been completely mocked up by those shurikens. Nothing to worry about there. So, we are going to see some anti-air coming out from BarCast. It'll be interesting to see if he keeps playing the aircrafts or if he just reclaims them. He is continuing to play them. And BarCast is still pushing out with 2 different types of units here. Now, what do we think the old master that is Randy is going to do? Do you think he's going to switch to bombers and go for some bombing runs? Or do you think he's just going to go all in on BarCast's comm? He's right in the middle and nowhere at the moment. Not really any air defense on those units at all. Could mop them up quite quickly. BarCast choosing to fight that fight as well. Maybe using it as a distraction there. Air defense that he did have with him is gone, and there goes that commander. Air defense units do not get there quick enough. And we see here's the big push from Randy into the forces of BarCast. And rather than trying to finish him off, he's splitting up his guys a bit. Forcing BarCast to make a decision. Is he going to kill the harassing forces? Or is he going to hold his front? Which he does both. Splits off some tanks to deal with it. Definitely going to get that engineer though, and some mexes. These air engineers though. Dragons Moors. Good old flamethrowers. Everyone likes some flamethrowers. But surprisingly, even with the early advantage of BarCast's position here, we see BarCast has pretty much capped off the entirety of his side of the map, with some exceptions. Whereas Randy has got a lot of excess spots here that haven't been capped off. BarCast's issue is lack of energy right now. He really needs to be building a bit more energy, maybe get an extra engineer on it. He's got so much extra metal and he just can't use it. Meanwhile, nice push into here. This is a bit dangerous. BarCast Commander's very close by. That's a lot of tanks. Thug's not really able to hold. There's a lot of laser towers there, but is it going to be enough? BarCast able to hold on for now. BarCast needs to make some form of a play here to try and get this issue resolved. Maybe spamming out some artillery from his vehicle factory. Wolverines just to stop the units amassing right in front of him, forcing rAndy to do a push into him would be more beneficial. I do feel like BarCast kind of does have the unit advantage here. Unfortunately, he's not really using it. rAndy's doing a great job at keeping BarCast on the ropes. Now containing him rather than the other way around. This push did force off all of BarCast's units though. And that will get round. He's going to cause some damage to him. BarCast knows that and decides, well, I need to make some damage to rAndy instead. Splitting up his forces, trying to get some of this eco that's just left exposed. Will this force get through? There should be enough thugs to stop that. Unfortunately, they won't be able to catch him. That's the issue there. Big chunk of shurikens. That blob is going to get caught and killed very quickly. Yep. A lot of wasted units here. Free metal from rAndy. Also, losing all of this eco up here. He's already sent an engineer to start dealing with it though, but still. rAndy's still with the air factory. No transition away from it yet. Ooh, some nice EMPing going on here of the expansion. Not really going to do too much there. Maybe trying to give an out to his tanks hit. He has focused the LLT specifically so that those tanks can get out. Meanwhile, I think the unit numbers have maybe twisted here and more into rAndy's favor. Because BarCast is having to invest in anti-air units as well, he's not going to have as many just pure tanks on the field. Whereas rAndy just has tanks, that's it. He doesn't have thugs and tanks, just has tanks. So he's able to, you know, match all of his units to the same speed. Yeah, the thugs, they're good, but they're slow when you compare them to tanks. And these tanks are able to do an incisive amount of damage to BarCast. And I don't know what BarCast can really do at this point. He's really struggling to kind of contest rAndy in any location. He's on the back foot in every spot. It's only a matter of time, I think, until we see a bunch of bombers built by rAndy. And yeah, I mean, we could potentially see a user go Tech 2. I think if we did see anyone go Tech 2, it would probably be rAndy. He definitely has kind of BarCast pushed back, and I feel like if there's any time to go Tech 2, it might be now. But saying that, we have BarCast with a Tech 2 factory in the middle. Interesting. So with Tigers coming out now, that's going to force the Tech 2 from rAndy, and he sees Tech 2 detected and is instantly getting ready for that Tech 2 factory. rushing out the engineer and getting this Tech 2 factory built as soon as possible. Randy's metal dipping loads. That might be one of the reasons he kept this air factory, so he could reclaim it later. Not being reclaimed yet, but with no metal left, we may see it start to be reclaimed very soon. Although, BarCast, a bit of a danger's here. No units to really defend against this push on his Tech 2. If he loses the Tech 2 factory, he will have some issues. Nice push here from the side, though. The panic from BarCast to protect it. BarCast also getting flanked on every angle. Not really able to stop any of these attacks against him, and the Tech 2 factory also getting hit at the same time. About to see the energy field go up in smoke. Surprisingly not quite as much damage as I was expecting here. Tech 2 factory does stay alive. Nice push from the north. A lot going on in lots of different locations here. Tech 2 tank that was with that group did get mopped up. Now what BarCast has done is he's used a great timing advantage he had from getting Tech 2 first to make advantage of the fact that Randy had no units on the field. He mopped up all the units he had and pushed straight out. Now the issue is that BarCast is now in a situation where he also has no units. His units are desperately trying to defend his base. Now, if BarCast can pull this back, do enough damage, then we may see a nice play from that nice D-gun. And these LLT mechs is doing a good job actually holding off those forces. BarCast in a tough spot here in the middle. He's trying to run away. Those tanks are beelining straight for the comm. He's running towards the LLTs. Hiding behind the tank. That Tech 2 factory goes. It's the end for BarCast, and he knows it. Tech 2 factory is gone. Will BarCast call the GG on that point? I believe it is the end for BarCast. He may be able to get resbots up there and get it healed up pretty quick, but unfortunately I don't see that happening. Tech 2 tank, which were just sat, they're all shooting the wrecks rather than shooting in, actually shooting each other. Yeah. And he goes back to a Tech 1 vehicle plant. Resbots are coming in. Trying to res units. He knows he needs units right now. It's very surprising that he has not given up. Very well played on BarCast's point to not just give up after losing that Tech 2 factory. But with the sheer amount of Tech 2 tanks on the field right now, it may be difficult for BarCast to pull this back when he only has Tech 1. He needs to be able to hold his position. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to. The massive shurikens starting up again. Reclaim going up. We do have a Tech 2 bot lab instead. Ah. Don't know how well Sheldon's would do versus the tanks. I need something to field for him in front. BarCast is pulling his comm right back. Sheldon's starting to do their work. Trying to get the reclaim from the Tech 2 factory, which he is. He does manage to get that all before he dies. Unfortunately, for a substantial amount of time now, BarCast has just been on the defensive. We've seen great flanks from rAndy here, forcing BarCast into the corner. BarCast's been doing a great job pushing out again, but with his engineers managing to reclaim the territory that he did lose. But his commander taking a lot of damage here, not paying attention. And the Tech 2 tanks managed to claim the kill on the commander. Well played, both players. BarCast doing very well versus rAndy, holding out for an incredible 25 minutes. GG both players. And if you like these sort of casts, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.